This simple restorative yoga for better sleep class is something that you can easily fit into your bedtime yoga routine. It will help you to prepare your mind and your body for better sleep. Maybe you're having a hard time falling asleep, or you wake up throughout the night, or you're dealing with insomnia. No matter what sleep issue you're having, these restorative yoga poses can help. Don't underestimate the power of taking small moments of time like this to yourself. When added up and practiced over time, you will feel the benefits of these restorative yoga poses, and you will have more continuous, better, and deeper sleep. Hit the thumbs up if you're ready to practice this restorative yoga for better sleep class. Here are the props that you'll need.
2 yoga blocks, a flat bolster or substitute a large bed pillow, and 3 blankets. Cute little dog is optional.
Gather up your props, get into your pajamas, and meet me back here on your yoga mat. Let's begin in a more active yoga pose of cow and cat before we settle into the stillness of our restorative yoga poses, as a means of reducing any tension and opening up the spine from the day. So come into a table position to start. Spread your palms wide onto the floor with the pinkies toward the edges of the mat, and your hips arrive above your knees, your shoulders above your wrists. Now curl all 10 toes under, even the pinky toe, and push back with your hands. Gently load some weight into the feet until you feel that opening in the feet. You could rock side to side from the pinky toe to the big toe mounds. Just experiencing some gentle opening into the soles of the feet. Now release that. Flatten all the toes to the floor. From a neutral table position with your spine, gazing down, we'll start with cow and cat. So take the inhale, lower through the navel, the upper spine, the shoulder blades come together, look forward, and then exhale, round through the upper spine, the middle spine, and the low spine, relaxing the head down to the floor. Inhale into cow pose, drawing the shoulder tips toward one another, looking forward gently. And exhale, round the whole spine into cat. As you continue for 3 more rounds, slow it down. Smooth, continuous breath. A wave-like motion with your spine. Feel that you are continuously moving and continuously breathing. Washing any tension from the spine away with the breath. Take your last round and end with cat pose, your spine toward the ceiling. Release into neutral spine, where we started. And then sit back on your heels for a moment to transition into supported standing forward bend, our first restorative yoga pose. Grab both of your blocks and place the first block on the low height in the middle of your mat, followed by the second block on top of that on the high height. This is a good starting space. You may need to adjust this as we come into the posture, and you'll know just in a second. So as we come closer to the blocks, simply step 1 foot forward, followed by the other, spreading the feet as wide as the lowest block with bent knees. And then just begin to lower the crown down, hanging heavy into your legs, and bring the blocks closer to you so that the very tip of the head, where the forehead and the hairline meet, touches the block without any effort. So you may need to lift or lower the blocks to make that possible, so that it feels comfortable. And once you've found that space with yourself, rock outside to the outer edges of the outer feet, inside to the inner edges, and find that middle ground where you're right in between the outer and inner edges of your feet, and there's equal weight in the toes and in the heels. Then relax through the nape of the neck, and now bring the hands to opposite elbows. Just hang through your arms and light weight with your head on the block. If you're feeling very heavy on the block, chances are you could lower the stack of your blocks. If you're not quite touching it, you could raise it. Begin to spread your thigh bones back if there's more space, finding a gentle opening. And then let your belly grow really heavy, maybe close the eyes. We'll only be here for a few seconds more. This is a shorter hold. Really allow your shoulders to release more and more toward the floor. Let any tension and worries from the day slide off your spine. Melt them into the earth. One more voluminous inhale into your whole back body. Fill up. As you exhale, open your eyes, relax your hands down. Lift up a little bit with your head. Step backward from the blocks, keep your head low, and come back down to the floor. You can either have a cross-legged seat or sit on your heels as I am, and just allow your head to become higher than your heart, maybe closing the eyes to observe the effects of that pose, or keeping them open and breathing easy. Now let's transition into supported reclining bound angle. So move your blocks off the mat and grab your bolster. Take that bolster in front of you, lengthwise up the middle of the mat, and find one of your blankets. And from a tight, small fold, we'll fold it over one more time. And you'll place that at the back. This will be for your head. You could fold it over with a couple inches resting toward you, and this will provide a nice little ramp and support for your shoulders while the back of your head is lifted on the blanket. Then grab the other two blankets, and we'll go for this same fold, which is a square fold blanket, and take the shortest side and simply roll it up until you've got a really thick rolled blanket. Place one onto the left side and the other onto the right. Then turn around, and with your back right up against the bolster, spread your legs in front of you. Lean forward so you can really scoot right up against the bolster, and then sit upright. Now bring your legs in one at a time, and take the soles of the feet together to touch. Now bring both of those rolled blankets underneath the legs, under the calf, and under the thigh on both sides. And this will provide a lot of height so that there's no tension in the legs as you lie back. Now we're gonna recline onto the bolster. So using your hands, stretch up through your spine and lower down until your head meets the blanket. And then you might choose to adjust it so that you can find your forehead is a little bit higher than your chin, or at least level. And the arms go by your sides with the elbows on the floor, the palms face up. An invitation to close your eyes. Check in with your body one last time, ensuring that you feel completely comfortable. If your low back aches here, you can take your two blocks and create a bolster ramp. And that will alleviate any tension you might feel in your low back. If you're content to stay here, simply come into the feeling of a broad, open heart, fully relaxed legs, inviting in better sleep. With your exhalations, releasing worries about your sleep. with your inhalations, inviting in space, softness, and easy rest. Now remain here in silence and allow the pose to work its magic on you. Come back into the sensation of your breath in the nostrils. Sense the openness in the chest. And as you feel ready and willing, make gentle movement to your fingers, rubbing your toes against one another, the soles of the feet. And perhaps letting the eyes open, transition the palms down to the floor, or use the hands to help the legs in. Lift one knee at a time, planting the feet flat. And either pushing down from here, keeping the chin in toward your heart, exhale and lift, or you could slide your legs long as you lift, whichever feels best. From this position, let's move these rolled blankets off to the side. And turn to face our bolster. Extend your legs wide on either side of that bolster and remove the blanket here from the top of the bolster. Now, when you are in a supported seated wide angle with bolster position, if you find that it's difficult to hinge forward and sit here without rounding your back, or maybe your knees are lifted off of the floor, here's how to accommodate that. Let's unwind the blanket that was used for our head until it's a square blanket, and then take that behind us, and with the edge, one of the corners, sit underneath Now sit it underneath your hips so that the corner peeks out when you look down, and then just walk forward a little bit until you notice you're starting to tilt forward. You can build this up however much you need. And then if you still notice that your knees are high, you can bring those rolled blankets underneath the legs here as well as an extra support on both sides. So just a couple options to make this very restful for you. Now once you've got all that set up, tip the bolster up till it faces you and start to lower down to your comfort level. Notice where that is for you and where you naturally tend to stop without any strain or struggle. Then ramp the bolster up to meet your forehead and let the forehead come to hook onto the bolster. It should feel like there's no effort to hold the bolster up here, pretty effortless through the whole spine. Once you've found that just right space for you, forehead against the bolster, relax your arms down to your legs. You can rest your elbows on your thighs, your hands wrapped around the lower legs, or maybe even it feels better to rest your elbows on your thighs and your hands on the floor on either side of the bolster. Close the eyes here. And let's spend a few moments just breathing into the back body. So take an inhale and spread that breath horizontally across the upper, middle, and lower back. And as you exhale, relax more deeply into the bolster and the floor. Inhale and visualize that breath, simply spreading outward from the spine to the edges of the back. Exhale, releasing the visualization, letting the body empty the breath. One last time, fill up, visualize the breath spreading horizontally. And invite in softness as you exhale. Invite in release. And simply let go. Relax your jaw. Relax the whole body. If over time you notice here that you're able to fold forward more and more, you could gently move the prop to accommodate that. So just taking your hands to the bolster, moving it away from you, giving yourself more space to release. Permission to do that as you feel more opening happen in your back, maintaining length in the back of your neck. And now simply rest in stillness and silence for a brief time. Inhaling. Find the elbows starting to lift off of the legs. And bring your hands back to the bolster. Hold it steady as you lift your head upright, releasing the bolster to the floor. Breathe easy, noticing any sensations of lightness or openness across the back as we transition against our open wall space for legs up the wall. Go ahead and turn your mat perpendicular to the open wall space, and I'll meet you there. Now that your mat is set up perpendicular to your open wall space, let's set up the props and come into legs up the wall. I'll give you two options. The first is simply legs up the wall without any props underneath your hips, and the second is with this bolster so that you can elevate your hips. You'll know which one feels best because your low back will tell you. So go into the one that feels most effortless and most relaxing for you. I'll show you both and then you can decide. So with the first one, if you're just coming into legs at the wall without your hips on something, you'll want to open up your blanket until it's got a nice wide amount of space on either side of the mat, and place that against the mat and the wall so that it opens up on either side of the mat. Your second blanket will go midway up the mat, a thicker fold for your head. Scoot to one side of the mat and sit against the wall. Directly against the wall with your back, your legs are splayed off to the side. Now reach both arms forward, and the arm that's closest to the mat, that's going to tuck underneath, and then just tuck and roll. So roll onto your back and swing your legs up the wall. And you can adjust your distance from the wall here. For example, if you feel like you aren't completely touching the floor with your glutes, then you'll want to scoot back. If you want more support, then scoot forward until your legs are fully touching the wall. Separate your feet about hip distance, wider than you think, so that there's a lot of spaciousness here in the legs. And then finally, after you've adjusted the blanket underneath the back of your head, reach your arms to a V, palms face up. This is the first variation of legs up the wall. In legs up the wall with elevated bolster, we'll set up the props a little bit differently. So grab your bolster and place that widthwise across your mat, leaving at least a width of hand space in between the wall and the bolster. This is really important. Ensure that you're leaving space between the bolster and the wall. Then grab one of your blankets and open it up until it's a big rectangle, and we will shorten it by folding the long side to the long side, creating a little lift for the back of the spine. Place that directly against the bolster up the middle of your mat. Finally, find the last blanket, fold it over about a square shape, and set that directly on top. This will provide extra elevation for your head. Now, same similar concept of getting into the pose, but this time, as you come to sit against the wall, you'll actually sit in the bolster, just on the edge of the bolster because you're gonna roll onto it. So spreading the legs to the side, sitting on the bolster, so lean forward, send the forearm to the floor, and roll onto your back. Send your legs up the wall. Adjust yourself so that your glutes are dripping off the lip of the bolster and your legs are up the wall, separated hip distance. You can decide from here if you'd like to go closer to the wall so that your glutes are a bit more making contact with the wall instead of so far away. But it might feel good to just stay here. You get to decide. Once you feel satisfied in your position, let's widen the arms, palms up, close the eyes, and relax all effort. Drop the femur bones heavy into the hip sockets. Release all doing. Feel the lightness arrive in the feet. And all the creases of the face, the forehead, the corners of the eyes, the edges of the lips. Smooth them out. Rest in silence, allowing deep peace and relaxation to enter your body and your mind. To come out of your variation of legs up the wall. Slowly move your toes and walk your feet down the wall, one at a time, bending your knees in toward your chest. Reach one arm overhead and roll to that side, taking care to drop your knees down if you're elevated on the bolster, and then sliding off the bolster. Press gently into your palms from here to lift your heart and come back up to a comfortable seat. Just a simple seat wherever you are. And we'll take the hands together in front of the heart. In Anjali Mudra, an offering. Allowing sleep to find you, rather than chasing and grasping for it. Trust that you've done the practice, and allow yourself now to receive the benefits. Open your eyes and come back into this space. If you're feeling deeply relaxed and ready for bed, share that with me in the comments below. I always love to hear how this practice goes for you. And subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I post new yoga and meditation videos every week to help you transform busy into being. Hit that bell notification so that you get alerted each time I post. I'll see you in the next video. Good night and namaste.